According to reports, Ukraine struck aircraft included Tu-95 and Tu-22 strategic bombers, which Russia has relied on to fire long-range missiles at Ukraine throughout the war. The Tu-22 M3 is a formidable long-range supersonic missile carrier bomber. It is capable of destroying sea and ground-based targets with guided missiles and aerial bombs. Its variable wing sweep and ability to fly at extremely high and low altitudes makes it a stealthy and formidable opponent. Armed with missiles like the KH-22, KH-15 and KH-32, as well as KAB or KAB-500 guided missiles and bombs, this bomber has been a key component of Russia's military strategy on Ukraine. Next is Russia's strategic nuclear-capable Tu-95 MS bomber. The Tu-95 MS are designed for long-range missions with a range exceeding 14,966 kilometers, allowing them to strike targets globally. Now, its large size allows it to carry a significant payload of 20,000 kilograms. Peter Kuznick is a professor of history and director of the Nuclear Studies Institute at American University. Professor Kuznick is now joining us live on this broadcast. Welcome to the program. What do the drone strikes by Ukraine of the Russian nuclear bombers airbase in Siberia signify?
This is clearly a major escalation on Ukraine's part and dealing a significant blow to the Russian military capabilities. So we're seeing escalation on both sides now. There's been discussion that Russia has begun its spring offensive, and now the Ukrainians showing that they can retaliate. So where this goes from here, Russia's almost certainly going to respond with an even greater military force. And this kind of tit for tat, in the long run, it might say what we're seeing on one hand is jockeying for position. Who's going to have the stronger hand to play in the negotiations that are going to be resuming tomorrow in Istanbul? But beyond that, the whole question of escalation leading to further escalation is a pattern that nobody wants to see, whose endpoint is almost indeterminable. We see the Europeans, especially Merz, Starmer, Macron, egging the Ukrainians on and promising more and more support. Trump, if anything, is playing a moderating role, and it's just a very, very crucial moment and a very, very dangerous one from the standpoint of ever coming to an end to this war.
Nick, now that we're talking about the talks which will resume tomorrow, and we've seen an ongoing drone warfare in the past few weeks between Ukraine and Russia, who gets more leverage during the talks? Is it Russia or Ukraine?
Until this latest round of attacks, clearly Russia had the leverage. Russia was advancing on a couple different fronts. So in the ground war, Russia was gaining and is still gaining. But this puts Ukraine in a stronger position, showing that they can retaliate. We had also these comments a few days ago by Merz in Germany, in which he said that Britain, France, Germany, and the United States have all given Ukraine the authority to use their long-range missiles to strike inside of Russia. And then they had to walk that back. And then he said that, oh, that was the Biden policy. So we don't know where it stands now. We do know that Russian officials are warning that if the German Taurus missiles are used to strike inside Russia, that can only be done with German military officers playing a leading role in assisting Ukraine or in actually carrying out those strikes. And there have been threats then that Russia will retaliate directly militarily against Germany. This kind of escalation is so dangerous at this point. That puts us on the door of World War III and the use of nuclear weapons. So they've got to all step back from this. And this kind of escalation on both sides is only making it more dangerous and taking us further away from a resolution.
Professor Kuznick, then what do you make of Trump's Ukraine envoy, Keith Kellogg, saying that NATO is in a proxy war with Russia? Very briefly.
That's like saying that the Pope is Catholic. Yes, clearly NATO's in a proxy war with Russia. And General Kellogg also said that it's fair for Russia to not want Ukraine, Georgia, Moldova, anybody else in Eastern Europe to join NATO. So that's a recognition that's clear that the United States has said it's not going to allow Ukraine to join NATO. It's got to be unanimous. All 32 NATO countries have got to support any new members joining. We know that not only the United States, but as Kellogg said, at least 4 other NATO countries are also opposed to Ukraine joining. But Putin wants that in writing. He saw what happened to Gorbachev in 1990, when Gorbachev got verbal assurances that NATO would not expand 1 inch to the east, and then NATO kept expanding up to Russia's doorstep. So this has been a fundamental issue, not only for Putin, even for Yeltsin, but he was too weak to act on it. But NATO's expansion clearly, in the minds of the Russians, represents a geopolitical as well as a military threat that they cannot abide. So that's one of the things that's going to have to be agreed on for there to be a ceasefire and for this war to end. There are other demands that the Russians are making, and if Russia is in the driver's seat on the battlefield, then they've got more leverage at the bargaining table. But what's happened with this latest round of Ukrainian attacks is going to begin to offset some of that, and now we're going to be at, again, an uncertain moment when they meet tomorrow in Istanbul.
Well, Russia has actually responded and said that the attacks on the air bases by Ukraine is a terrorist attack. Yes. Professor Kuznick, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today.
Thank you.